Hey everybody. How is everybody doing on tonight? We are here with My Life Has Destiny podcast. I am one of your hosts, Quint Jones, along with my sister Coco Fenton, and we have a special guest all the way from India, Dr. Sarita Sharma. She has 9 books. She is an advocate for women. She writes about women, and she is gracing our stage on today. She's in the studio with us. We are so excited to have her here. She is a beautiful soul, and we are going to learn a lot from her on today. But at this time, before we even get started, we're going to play a song, and then she's going to come back and tell us a little bit about who she is. Coco, are you ready?
I'm ready. Tonight we're going to listen to I Can Only Imagine by Tamala Man.
Awesome.
Again, we do not own the rights to the songs that you hear, but please enjoy. Can you imagine? Can you imagine just standing before the king? I can only imagine what it would be like when I'm by your side. I can only imagine, yeah, what my eyes will see. Who in I own the right to these songs that you hear, but please. Is before me. I can only imagine. I could only imagine to be surrounded by your glory. What will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in all of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? To my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak it all? I can only imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine. I can only imagine when that day comes and I find myself standing in the sun. I can only imagine when all I will do is forever worship you. I can only imagine. I could only imagine to be surrounded by your glory. What will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in all you be still? Will I stand
All right, all right, all right. I can only imagine. So, with that being said, we're going to turn it over to Dr. Sarita Sharma, and she is going to allow God to use her. You're muted.
That was a beautiful song. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I must thank both of you and my Life as Destiny podcast. The title of the podcast itself is so pertinent to the lives of women, because very often than not we leave so many things to destiny. Okay, this is how things have been, this is how things are always going to be, and we somehow, I think, do not try to change whatever we think is in store for us. So my
Hmm.
life is destiny, my life is power, and I have power over that destiny. I
Yes.
power to change my destiny. And I see remarkable women doing just that, connecting with women across the world, talking about yourselves, uh, bringing them together so that they talk about themselves. And we as women, if we do not connect, then I don't see a future for us. So
That's
if there
right.
is a brotherhood of men, we have been hearing about the brotherhood of men, and then we have really not given much emphasis on the women sisterhood of women. I think of late we have been starting about having this fraternity of sisterhood, where we can reach out to one another, where we can hold hands and walk together. Because women have, since time immemorial, been pitted against each other. I always say this, we have always been conditioned into believing that we are competition to one another.
Hmm.
The moment we stop thinking about each other as competition, and the moment we see each other as an extension of ourselves, I think
Yes.
that is the point where we start winning. So I'm Sarita Sharma, as you said, Quint, from India. I write, I write poems, short stories. I'm also working on a fiction at this moment, and one of my poetry books is under publication, and God willing, I should be able to come up with the book by the end of this month. So I'm looking forward to that book, because it is a book of born out of so much of love and anticipation of a better society, of a society where everyone is equal, irrespective of gender, caste, creed, and all that. I also work as editor in chief for TAFFD magazine, which is an NGO based in USA,
Hmm.
and we are an ethnically diverse group at TAFFD, where people from Africa, Russia, India, USA, Pakistan, and other parts of the country, Nepal, other parts of the world come together in a conglomeration where we work together for the betterment of humanity. So that is something which I'm doing. And yes, I'm glad the way my life is shaping up. And as your podcast says, my life is destiny. Yes, my life is destiny as well. And I am playing my part in that destiny. I'm not waiting for some kind of miracle to happen and change my life, but I'm trying to create the destiny for myself. God willing, I should be able to. Thank you.
I love that. I love that. Yes, because faith without works is dead. So you have to step in and you have to create your destiny. You have to do something for yourself. So, and you said something key. We as women need to stop looking at each other as competition and work on pushing each other into our destiny. How can I help you? How can you help me? That's so important. We need to support each other. And my life has destiny. It's actually started as a women's ministry, and this is my baby. uh, it started because I was dealing with a lot of women that was going through abuse, and I wanted to help them to come out, not knowing I was in it. So when I started helping them to come out, that's when the Lord revealed to me that I was in it. So it meant that much more to me. I already love women. I love to help women. I love to support women. That's my passion. And knowing that I was able to identify with them, it helped me that much more. So I am so grateful for you gracing our stage. So continue to tell us a little bit more about your books.
Yes, thank you. And yes, I must say, St. Jones, that I have recognized that you really, really love women and you want to connect. The waiver, the waiver charge is testimony to that. And I have to say it on live podcast that, Queen Jones waived the fees that I was supposed to pay for this podcast. So there it goes. I mean, uh, just, talking and doing are two different things. I think it's very easy to talk about, like, fine, I support women, I do this, I do that. But then actually, bringing it to the table and
Mhm.
actually doing it practically and showing it to others that, okay, fine, if I can do this, so can you. I think
Yes,
that is very important.
yes.
So, in my own rights, I also try to do as much as I can for underprivileged women because as I live in India,
Mhm.
there is so much of poverty around me. There is so much of poverty. There is so much of exploitation and helplessness that I see on a day to day basis.
Mhm.
I'm involved with a lot of groups which help women overcome their difficulties. And I, on my personal level, also try to help as much as I can. Of course, we all have limitations, but
Right.
within that limitation, also, sometimes it is just a listening ear that I can lend to.
Mhm.
That also works wonders, I have seen. Sometimes it is my time that someone is looking at.
Mhm.
If I can share my time with them, if I can sit with them and talk for half an hour, maybe that also relieves them of so much that they are going through. So I've
Yes.
realized that money is definitely very important, but the human connect is also very, very important. I think
Yes.
somehow we have lost that connect. We are so very busy with our own lives, our own uh, frustrations, depressions, whatever it is of our own life, that we have forgotten the art of listening. We have
Yes.
forgotten the art of sharing. So
Mhm.
I think it's very, very important. And my books stem out from this need. I see mothers go unappreciated,
Mhm.
undervalued all the time. They are there all the time for us, but we hardly ever think of them as individuals.
Right.
Fathers are important because they go out and bring home the bread. So that's why fathers are always more important. But we always, always undervalue one another. We don't talk about mothers. We don't talk about women who come to our homes to clean our homes. In India, we have this where for a very, very petty amount of money, we can hire women who come and clean our homes, and wash our clothes for us, who do our dishes. So that is the kind of poverty that we have. Women are forced to go out of their homes and do whatever work they can.
Mhm.
So my books basically deal with this kind of women who go unspoken, unheard, and unsung. I'm not trying to be their voice. Of course, I would love to hear their own voice, but what I see is what I write. And I feel that they have been undervalued for too long now. I think they need some kind of representation. Let the time come. Uh, I think the time has already come for them to start talking about themselves. But so long they are not talking, at least I can talk about the experiences of them, and I can represent them of what they go through in the daily lives. So my books basically stem from my love for humanity, what I feel as a woman for other women, and I think it's all very emotional. I don't know whether I have anything practical to say in my books, but it's more of emotions.
I definitely feel your heart, and I'm getting emotional over here just with you talking about it. But so I want to introduce you to my cousin Terrence. He's one of our biggest supporters. He's on just about every show. So, Terrence, do you have any questions for Dr. Sarita?
Well, I don't have any questions. I mean, I'm actually just kind of in awe and admiration is coming out because I know what you're referring to, uh, and I just remember I'm not a woman. Okay, just gonna put that out there. Everybody understands. But when you're looking at things that equality, I was one of the people who watched as my aunt. became a high-ranking person in just the Social Security Administration, and even worked with one quarter of the southeastern part of the U.S. And yet, she would continually come in contact with people who would demean her. And I just remember one story she talked about a gentleman demeaned her about a project and about something that was going on within a meeting. And so she sat back and began to be quiet. And of course, there were other members of that meeting going on, and they just listened to him. So since he took over, they began to ask him questions. And she still remained quiet until everybody realized he had no idea what was happening. And the meeting then turned back to her with the original questions of all the items that she had actually taken care of. But it's sad that that's what has to happen. And that was looking at a period of about 20 to 30 years ago. And now we watch even, I think that the items that you all brought up about the competition. Now, yes, does it happen with men who are jockeying for things? Yes, but there's a matter of respect that we receive. If we walk into an establishment and there's a woman beside us, generally we get greeted first versus the woman who's standing right beside us. But why? Why didn't you just greet the group? Why didn't you greet the party that came in? And those are subliminal items that we have not overcome. Things in that manner.
Coco?
Well, I just sit back and I say, kudos to you for even taking a stand to do what you're doing. I know that, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I do know that particularly where you're from, it's very harsh on women there, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So, being able to take a stand to just do that, I'm sure that it took a lot to be able to say, something has to change. This has to change. And we have a voice. So I say kudos and hats off to you. That's
Yes.
that's where it is because I know that that's hard to do. I mean, it's even hard to do here because we don't have it as bad, but it's still the same thing. They will listen to a guy before they listen to us, you know, um, and walking into a place where I know I was called to teach a class somewhere, and when I came in, they thought that it was the guy teaching the class because we had the same last name until they called me up front. And if you could have seen all the looks on the men's faces when I stood up on the stage, it was like the response was like, "Oh wow, okay," you know. And it's the difference in how you're perceived as a woman, because a lot of people do think that we are less than. They do not think that we are equal to. Some of them even don't even think that we're smart enough, and that type of situation. So again, kudos to you. And as far as the whole competition thing, you are exactly right because here, um, you don't see it too often. Besides, myself and Q and the people that are in my circle, that I deal with all the time. I'm one of those people, whether you're male or female, but especially if you're a woman, I'm going to congratulate you. You know, I'm hey, I have no hard feelings about nothing. If you're doing something that is making a difference, congratulations. Tell me about what you're doing. If I know somebody that can help you even go further than where you are, okay, I'll give you the information. That's my type of. That's how I do. I'm all about supporting people, and we should be like that. Period. We should be able to support one another instead of looking down on each other or feeling some kind of way because this person is doing what you feel like you should already be doing. Type of situation. So like I said again, hats off to you, and I pray that God open up windows for you to be able to help other females feel liberated about who they are just as women. You know, be comfortable in their skin and let their voices be heard. So
Do you I know you spoke about a group. that you are a part of? Tell us a little bit about that. Did you start it or?
About the NGO that I spoke about.
Mhm. Yes.
Okay, TAFFD is the acronym for Trans Disciplinary Agora for Future Discussions. So it was started by a young Nigerian man named Osunakachi Akuma Kalu, and it is registered just based in the USA. And people from all over the country are members of that organization. You can also join the organization if you want to. And right now, we are making headways towards Africa because I think that is where there is so much of work that needs to be done. And
Mm.
I'm in the magazine department. I'm editor in chief of the magazine, wherein the magazine is a transdisciplinary magazine. So we bring in ideas, we bring in researchers, people from all sections of the community and all fields of academics, and life narratives as well, under one big magazine. So we have already done two issues of it. 2019, we published the first edition of the magazine, and 2020, we had the second edition. The response is phenomenal. We also have a journal, which is ISSN certified, so academics will be more interested in writing for that journal. So the journal is being headed by an African woman, Dr. Doris Goji. She's the head of the journal. And we also have had an international conference in the year 2019, and we're looking at another conference in the fall of this year in South Africa. So I think what we are trying to do through this organization is that we are trying to bring people from all walks of life under one umbrella and
Mhm.
walk together for the progress of humanity, for the betterment of every one of us. Because it is high time that we started uh, looking at each other as just an extension of ourselves and not see each other as a different race, different religion, different gender. So I think that has to stop. And yesterday I was in one of in a discussion where we are talking about racial injustice, what it does to us.
Mhm.
And it is there in all the countries. It is there everywhere. None of the countries can say that, okay, fine, we are free of racism. I think
Mhm.
to a level, it may be a little more in some countries, it may be a little less, but it is there everywhere. Racism, social injustice, gender bias, everything is there and in different levels. So I think unless and until we can mitigate these differences, unless we can stop segregating ourselves in different compartments, I think we are not progressing as humans. We are not going anywhere. And one thing which I have realized is that I think maybe we do this out of fear. you know we exploit someone because we are afraid of that person. We would want to dominate that person because we are afraid of that person. We don't want immigrants in our country because we are afraid, again, once again, we don't want no refugees, we are afraid of them. So basically we are afraid of one another, whereas in reality we should be holding hands and walking together. So I think the whole mathematics has somewhere gone wrong. We have been conditioned in a completely different manner, whereas we should have been conditioned to have more faith in humanity, to have more love for one another.
Mhm.
Same in the case of women. I think from the very beginning, oh, she is more beautiful than you. She is slimmer.
Mm.
She is sexier. You know,
Mhm.
that is the competition that I was talking about.
Mhm.
And the men, he will go with the princess, the one who is the loveliest. And what
Mhm.
about the rest of us? The rest of us will try to pull her down.
Right.
Why? Because we want him as well. So that competition has been conditioned into us from the very, very beginning. And that is something I think only women can do away with, that conditioning. You have to be the bad girl sometimes.
Mhm.
You have to be the bad woman sometimes. Because when you speak out, you are labeled bad.
That's right.
You are labeled outrageous.
Mhm.
So in my community, I, as a married woman, am supposed to wear some accessories to pronounce my status as a wedded woman.
Mhm.
I started with that. I started by removing all the accessories that was part of my wedding trousseau. I did not want that. I will wear it the day I want to, but I will
Mhm.
not be forced into putting those things, those that large bindi that you see on the forehead of married women.
Mhm.
So we are supposed to follow certain rituals, and sometimes you have to be the bad girl in order to break out of the stereotype. And these are very small things. Some people might say that these are irrelevant, but these are relevant somewhere, because you are always being bound by some traditions, rituals, and they do not let you be free. So
Mhm.
small things matter, and I started small. Um, I may be a bad girl for someone out there, but I'm happy with what I'm doing. And yes, I would happily break rituals, but I would not break anyone's heart. I would not break anyone's trust. So I
Mhm.
think that's more important than anything else.
Yes, definitely. I love that. You have to be the one to make the change.
Mm-hmm.
Transformation is so important, and a lot of time we're just looking at doctrine and we're looking at the ritual and we're looking at following the rules. But change is not going to come by just following rules. You have to, in order to create your destiny and have a voice and uplift others, you have to make change. I mean, the world is evolving daily, so we have to be the ones to say, hey, I'm here. These women are here. These women need a voice. They're not speaking up for themselves. I'm going to be the one to step up and speak up for them. I'm going to be the one to help them. I'm going to be the one to support them. And that's with men also. But some it has to start somewhere. So why not you?
Mm-hmm.
Herein, I would like to add something, Terence. I wanted to say this when you put in your comments, but I think it remained in the background. Uh, I must thank men like you who come forward to support women, because it is always a two-way process. It is always a two-way process. Men cannot live without women, and women cannot live without men. We have to work in tandem. We need our men as much as they need women. So I think it's so heartening to see people like you come forward and lend that helping hand, because the more the better, always. And if we have the support of the family, and if we have the support of the men in our homes, then I think this is the best thing that can happen to anyone. In this regard, I have been extremely lucky to have men, my father, my brother, then my husband, my sons. They have been extremely supportive of what I do. They have been extremely supportive of anything that I have, wanted to change about myself or the house, for that matter, the rituals, as I said, or anything. So confidence stems from support of your family also. You
It
cannot
does.
walk alone all the time. All the
That's
time, you
right.
cannot walk alone. Yes, you have to build the required courage to move forward, but someone has to be there to prepare you to have your back. So yes, thank you for being what you are, Terence.
Thank you. I mean, I feel very humbled in what you said. I'm sitting among three powerful women, and that does I know it doesn't demean me. It's just my privilege, and I think people miss that. What's that old saying? If you're the smartest fish in the pond, then you probably need a new pond. And I'm very happy to be the smaller fish here and to listen to three people who have so much more detail and understanding of the subject.
That's why we love you, T. You're so humble.
T is the fave.
I can see why. And
Okay, I'm just lucky I'm one shade already because I'd be changing it if it wasn't for that. You guys have me blushing, but thank you again. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And I do agree the your support system is key.
Yes, ma'am.
Because a lot of times if you don't feel like you have the right support or the right amount of support, you won't continue to keep going or push to continue what you're starting.
Mm.
A lot of times, and I can speak for myself. A lot of times I started something and didn't finish because I had no support. And then I picked it up again years later and finished it because I had the right support behind me then. But you stop and you think a lot of times that if you feel like if I would have had the support that I have now back then, you know,
Mm.
you always sit back and you think back then, where could I have been,
Right.
now if I could have had the support then when I needed it, kind of situation. So I totally agree about the support.
And if you all don't mind me saying, I think what we're touching on is a very, very important item. Um, because we all grow up with a family, and I think the doctor is very blessed in the support system she has within her own nucleus, and how each plays a part, and how she is now giving to literally the rest of the world.
Mhm.
But as you were saying, Coco, there's so many who don't have that in there now,
Hmm.
and they don't have that in when they wake up in the morning, someone to cheer them on and get them going.
Hmm.
But I have to encourage that sometimes I don't encourage people to cut people off, because
Hmm.
remember, other family members are learning too, and
Hmm.
they're feeling some of those same feelings. They just lash out, and that's why you don't feel the support system. But there, you can build that same support system around people whom are like-minded, who are moving forward. But if you don't change that, then you become stuck. You
Hmm.
have to look to improve your environment, move forward,
Hmm.
and not be afraid to.
That's right.
Well, the one thing that I could say is, I was taught. It happened later in life, but I'm still glad for the lesson. I was taught that you surround yourself with people that are already where you're trying to go. And the reason why you do that is because they're already there.
Mhm.
So they're going to help get you there.
That's
And
right.
then once you get there, it's your job to help somebody else.
That's
And
right.
then you can also help people along the way. You don't have to wait, but once you get the knowledge of how to move forward or how to do a thing, you pass it on and you keep going.
That's
So,
right.
that's what I have learned to do. I've learned to subject myself around people who are already where I'm trying to go. You know, if you're trying to, like I have a friend of mine who say, "Hey, I've seen it. You're gonna be a millionaire one day." I have a bunch of friends who make six figures, a lot of them. So, and they sit back and they tell me what they have done, how they got where they are, and how they maintain it. And that's what when you take from what you're trying to do or the status that you're trying to get to, or just anything that you're trying to, when you're trying to better yourself,
Mhm.
that's what you do. You cannot try to better yourself and have people that are around you that's not trying to move, that's not trying to change at all,
Mhm.
because that is a dead weight. That is a drag down that you can't continue to hold on to. And it's not saying that you have to fully just drop them and let them go, but you have to let them know I can't stay stuck here.
Right.
You
And
know,
in simpler terms, if it's five broke people in the room, you're the sixth one. so, so somebody has to be elevating at
right,
some point.
right.
Somebody has to
And
elevate.
so you have to look at it and be like, look, I can't stay stuck here. I understand that if you're comfortable with where you are, that's good for you, but I'm not. You know, I feel like in life and with anything in life, there's always room to grow. I
Mhm.
feel like you're gonna forever be growing until the day you die. You
Yeah.
know, and you may not grow physically anymore because that part stops at some point. But
Mhm.
your brain, the knowledge, any information you take in, and just life lessons, period, you're gonna continue to grow until you leave here.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So you can't stay stuck. I don't see how a person can become complacent with
Mhm.
where they are and not want to see themselves further than where they are.
That's right.
That to me, that's a hard pill to swallow. And
Mhm.
when I see people in what I call stuck mode, it's hard for me. It's very, very hard for me
Mhm.
because I want to sit down and just sit there and talk to them and say, you are better than this. I need you to pull yourself out of this slump, but you can try to do that 1,000 times over and they never move,
That's right.
because you can want something for somebody else, but they have to want it for themselves first.
That's
And
right.
if they don't want it, there's nothing that you can do.
That's true.
So in that aspect of anything in life, for me, is I tell everybody, please see yourself as always being greater. When you wake up in the morning, that's another day to say, hey, I want to be I want to be better than what I was yesterday.
That's right.
you know Show me what you want me to do today. Who do
Mhm.
you want me to talk to? Matter of fact, what do you want me to intake today? Not who do you want me to give something to, but what do you want me to partake of, so that I can give something to myself first, so that I would have something that I can pour out to somebody else. If you don't have anything to give, then there's a problem also.
That's right.
If I could ask another question of the doctor, um, and here's what where I'm kind of feeling. I know out of the books you've already written, and you talked about the organization that you're working with, and that you're working with the magazine part of it. How much of your books are you pulling into that activity and that endeavor?
Into the magazine.
Right. How much do you feel that? I mean, because you already have one on its way, so there's a certain amount that you already are producing. There's a certain avenue or lane or a feeling because you're already promoting the self work and the self building of women. How is that working with your endeavors with the magazine and the organization?
Well, yes. If you talk about women and how we are
Hmm.
helping them through the
Hmm.
magazine, then yes, we are definitely doing a lot of job out there, because we not only have a lot of women on the team, but we also have a lot of write-ups featuring women and talking about analyzing the problems that they face. In the last edition, also, we talked about the kind of psychological suffering that women must have undergone during the pandemic, because yes,
Mm.
we know that a lot of women were trapped in their homes, as Quint was talking about earlier in the show. They were trapped in their homes and trapped with their abusers, and they did not have the means to come out of it. So there was an article featuring that, and tips on how to balance their life, how to deal
Mm.
with even helpline numbers. And I personally also, along with other members of my team, we are always open to talk to these kind of women, offer them whatever help we can. So I think the organization is doing a great deal of work out there. We are looking at more work in the sense that we are trying to give them some kind of skills training to
Ah.
women line. Yes, we are trying to do that so that they can empower themselves, come out of their homes and work for themselves. And if you do not have skills, it's not going to take you anywhere. So we are trying to do that as well. There is so much that we are planning to, but as an NGO, we have our own limitations. We have to work for. But we are working on getting more sponsors so that we can carry on with this work that we have in mind. And there is so much on the agenda. A little, we are progressing one step at a time. Yes, so that is how the organization is helping women.
Excellent. Excellent.
I would definitely love more information on that. If
Mhm.
you can send me an email, that would be awesome. I'm
Great.
definitely interested in learning more. I know you said you only had a half hour. Are you okay, or do we need to let you go?
We can. I'm loving this discussion. We can extend it for another 10 minutes.
Okay.
Excellent. Excellent.
So, uh, so tell the people how they can get in contact with you. That's very important.
Uh-huh. I'm on Facebook. I'm a very Facebook kind of a person. I have a LinkedIn profile also by the same name, Dr. Sarita Sharma. And if you search me on Facebook, Sarita Sharma, you'll get me there. I enjoy being on Facebook. I don't know, some of my friends say that you should not be on Facebook. but I enjoy being there. And yes, anyone can contact me in any capacity as an editor in chief of the magazine, or as a writer, or as a mental health counselor, because I also counsel people. I've been very busy doing workshops and also talking to people on individual level during the pandemic. We have tried to help as many people as possible, because during the pandemic I saw that students, like youngsters, women, people out of jobs, everyone was having a tough time dealing with the situation. And the only thing that was open for me at that time, and the only thing that I could do, was give my time and my expertise and my help
Mhm.
in finding solutions to the problems that they were going through. So that is what I did. So anyone can contact me. They can inbox me. They can search me. So I'm open for discussions. I'm a kind of person, as Coco was saying. You try to grow every day. If you want to grow, you grow every day. So I would like to grow as well as an individual. Professionally, I don't know. Maybe we have limitations. Every one of us do, or churning out the number of books that I would want to, maybe be a different thing. But as an individual, I can grow all the time. I can reach out to more people, and I can better myself through my experiences. What I see in you, remarkable women, along with Angela, I would say, there is so much of reaching out in your community, which I don't see in our own. In the South Asian countries, I don't see that much of reaching out amongst women. We are
Mhm.
still in the competition mode. Whereas I think you have come out of it to a very, very large degree. So I would want my women to be there as well. I would want to see them coming out more, and reaching out to more people, not being stuck by whatever they have been learning since ages, but
Mhm.
rather to come out, open their minds, and see what is being done around the world. How we have already uh, stopped seeing one another as competition in some level, and we have started uh, pulling each other up and not pushing each other down. So I think I would like to share your experiences with people back home, with my women
Mhm.
out here, and tell them that it is possible to be
Mm-hmm.
friends.
It
It is
is.
Yes.
possible to help one another. If you have the right intention, everything falls into place.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. That's so important, and we definitely want to keep in contact with you. I have another question. Uh, Sounds to me like you offer coaching sessions um, via email or Skype. However, do you charge a small investment, and is there a small investment for your magazine?
Uh, till now, we haven't asked for money to publish in the magazine. We are publishing free, but I would really want you to look at taffds.org. That is the website. I'll be sending you a link in your messenger as well.
Okay.
Let me write it down. taffds.org. So if you look for it here, then you'll get all the information. And I would be really, really appreciative if you could buy a copy, or subscribe to the digital copy of it. That would
Hmm.
immensely help our organization. Yes, but we do
Okay.
not charge any money to write. So I'll be coming up with the call for papers in one of these days, and I'll definitely be sharing the link with you. And yes, I hope to publish you in the upcoming edition.
I would love to do that. Definitely. Praise
Yeah.
God. Praise God. I know a few women that may be interested in doing that. And that's why I was asking. Because, like I said, we deal with a lot of domestic violence. Coco is I like to say warrior. I don't really like to say survivor, a warrior of domestic violence. Some of the people in our audience right now that are listening, they are warriors of domestic violence. So I think that would be a great magazine for them to get their story out there, get their voices heard. So that was one of the reasons why I was asking about an investment because it may help out. So, yes.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yes, would
Well,
like
I
to.
know
Yes, parents.
I apologize. I know we're kind of crunched for time, and you've been really gracious in giving us a little bit more. I wanted to ask about that book that's on the horizon. And I
Right.
know you gave a little bit. Are there any few more nuggets that we can devour really quickly in anticipation of it coming out?
Okay, the upcoming poetry collection is all about women and the aged, as I say.
Hmm.
I feel so sorry on seeing the aged being abandoned by their own
Oh,
families. We're having a talk backstage, the Quint and I. So it's so disheartening to see them being abandoned by their own families, and that is one area where I would really like to talk more about, because there are so many gray areas in our lives which we do not want to delve into. We do not want to talk about these issues, but these are happening every day in front of our eyes, but we do not talk about them. So my book is basically, you can divide it into two parts. I think it's about women, um, more, and the aged, how they must be feeling at this stage of their lives when they have done everything for the children, when they have, spent their whole lives talking about the children, thinking of them, dreaming of them, planning for them. And at the end of their, the fag end of their lives, and they are abandoned, they are
mm,
left at the devices. So that is one area of concern. I'm all emotion, as I keep saying. I think I have less head and more heart. So whenever I write, uh, some people have complained that you write about the same kind of thing again and again. I talk about being abandoned. I talk about loss in love. I talk about domestic violence as well. Yes, I've seen it around in the
Mhm.
neighborhood. I talk about that. Um, I talk about how trust breaks away. The title of my collection is Days 5. It may mean so many things that we just have 5 days to live on Earth.
Mhm.
As I'm approaching my 40s, I feel that I have less to live. I have already lived a large part of my life, and I have less to live. So I
Mhm.
think we could live for such a short period of time, and during this period also we are always engaged in being hurtful to one another,
Mhm.
cheating others, trying to exploit, trying to dominate. Why don't we try to love some more? Why don't
Mhm.
we try to trust one another some more? And why don't we make that person who people can trust and who people can really look up to? So I think these are questions which you'll be finding in my collection.
Mhm.
There may be some answers as well. Why is there so much of fear in the human mind? Why are we so afraid of one another? So a poet, a writer can only ask. So that's what I do. I ask as well, and we all have the answers within ourselves, but somehow we are not prepared. I think to work on ourselves. I think
Mhm.
that's the biggest dilemma that we have.
Mhm.
Well, I can agree because I think that part of the issue with the fear factor is the things that we have been taught
Mhm.
mm,
from past up until now.
That's right.
Because you go through life hearing things as a child from older folks, how they were brought up, things that took place, stuff that happened to them, how they don't want you to go through the same things that they went through, and they tell you to stay away from this and that, and things of that nature. So I think that a lot of times, and I say it often, and T and Q hear me say it a lot, sometimes you have to be untaught the things you have been taught,
Mhm.
and you have to unteach yourself, because even though that applied to them, it doesn't apply to you.
That's right.
It applied to their situation, not yours.
That's
So
right.
you're at a total different time era that's not happening now,
Mhm.
and you hate that it happened to them, and you wish that you could go back and change it for them, but you can't. So now you got to move forward. All you can do is do what you can to make sure that it doesn't happen again in this day and age,
That's right.
right? So I think that that's a lot of the things too, what we've been taught.
That's true. So, Dr. Sarita, do you have any last words for the audience? Because we have taken so much of your time, but I am so enjoying you, and I truly thank you for coming on the show. And anytime you want to come back, you are definitely welcome. Just hit me in the inbox. But keep in touch because I just love you. But any last words for the people?
It has been my pleasure, totally, being with three phenomenal people. And I'm so glad we contacted. I got in touch, and I'm so glad I'm here on this show. So every time I have to end the show like this, the only thing that I say is that let's start loving some more, and ourselves as well as others, because if I
Mhm.
cannot love myself, I cannot love you. So I think
Beautiful.
it's important
Mm.
to start loving oneself. It's important to start growing as individuals so that people can trust us more.
Mhm.
People can relate to us more as individuals, and it happens only when we start loving ourselves, our own personality. When I
Hmm.
look at myself, then I see my flaws, and if I can work on my flaws, then I'll definitely be a better person. And a better
Mhm.
person will definitely have more love, more empathy, more understanding for the world. So I think starting from now, we can develop these qualities in us. We can every day change ourselves for the better. Let's do that. And my life as destiny is a wonderful, wonderful platform. I did not imagine that I would enjoy this show this much. It's one of the best that I've had in a long time. So thank you
Wow.
so much. Thank you so much for having me here. I would definitely like to come back once my book is published. Yes.
Yes.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. You are welcome to come back. Just hit me in the inbox and we will definitely have you back on. If you want to bring some of your ladies or someone from your organization, we will definitely love to have them also. So you're welcome. Thank you again. Thank you so much.
So much. Bye bye. Good
Bye
night to
bye.
you.
You have a great night.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, guys, we were going to call it a short show, but let's finish addressing a few things here. Okay, so let's talk about trust for one, right? So, my take on trust is any type of relationship with no trust is like a car with no gas. It ain't going nowhere,
Mhm.
right? So, if you are having trust issues, the first thing you need to do is you need to ask yourself why. What is the problem? What came in to break the trust between you and the individuals or individual? That type of situation. Get to the root cause of the problem. If you can't fix it, again, any type of relationship with no trust is like a car with no gas. It ain't going nowhere.
I think a lot of times we look at trust as we're not looking at exactly who the person told us they are, and we're looking at the potential of the person.
Hmm.
So, with that being said, we play with our own minds
Hmm.
because we can see them further than they are, and they're showing us that, okay, I'm a cheater. I cheated on you. Oh, yes, I bought you these flowers. I whispered these sweet nothings in your ear. But I'm going to go out here and do it again
Hmm.
because you allowed it the first time when you took me back. So when a person show you who they are the first time, believe them.
Yes.
Trust that they're going to be exactly who they are.
Yeah.
And then you won't have a trust issue. Because if I stole from you once and you didn't knock my head off, I'm going to steal from you again because it's easy.
What
So
about the
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, what about the issue of people who literally cheat with someone and expect that person to then be with them? Literally laying the foundation of what like if they came to you that way, that's the way they're going to be, which means that you just become a link in the chain of those he or she has already cheated with.
So
Well, see
now
that
you're getting on the law of sowing and reaping. You're
right,
reaping what you sowed.
right, and at the same time, it goes back to what we have talked about before. If you saw it before you started the relationship, when you were just on the friend
Mhm.
part, and you decided to go into a relationship knowing that that individual was like that,
Mhm.
that's on you.
Right.
No,
That's like with
no, that's not on them.
you're right. It
They
was
they're
on
going to
me.
change, right? They're going to change. Because you're different. You're the one that can. can fill all the needs that they need. That other person is the one that was wrong, you know, not the one you picked, but who they're with at that time. You
Mm-mm.
know,
I mean,
No,
you
I
they
was
can
seen
tell
it.
themselves.
You seen
that's
it
the bad
in the
thing.
beginning. You seen the lies. You seen the
Exactly.
abuse
Right.
before I got married. The abuse was already there when I got married the first time. Before I got married the second time, the addict was already there. But I chose to make a conscious
Mm.
decision to walk into it on my own. uh, I went against what everybody said. My aunt literally chased me around her kitchen and said, "You better not marry that man." And guess what I did? Married him. So I ended up with 2 divorces. You don't have to marry everybody. You don't have to go into a relationship with that person. They showed you who they are.
Yeah.
So, what's in you that is causing you to not see who they really are?
And I mean, and if the preacher that you hired to marry you asks you literally every day, 30 days before the day you get married, are you sure that light bulb every single day? Are you sure? Call same time every day. Are you sure that this is what you're going to do? Are you sure that that's who you're going to do it with? Every single day for 30 days before the day you get married, and you still choose to say yes. Let's
Because
just
I
think.
love her.
Right. You
I
got to think
love
about
her.
that. I mean, you
But
got to think
but
about that. Some things we bring on ourselves due to our decision making skills.
right. And what
Okay.
are you truly loving or lusting?
Right. Because it ain't
Huh.
what you thought it
Or
It's
was.
not what
fulfilling.
you thought it was. Right.
Or
It ain't what
Right.
you
fulfilling.
thought it
Because
was.
It's
remember,
something
sometimes it's your own loss. And
Yeah.
exactly.
not to
It's
want to be alone.
A
You're
lot of a
you're
right.
just
lot of
taking anybody.
a lot of
Right.
times that's what happens when people choose to settle to fill a void.
Right.
You
It's
think
Hmm.
it's
you're thinking that you're filling the void, but literally the void is still there.
mhm.
Yeah.
Right. It's something inside of you that you're missing,
Yeah.
that you're
Hmm.
wanting to hold on to, and you see it in this person, but you're seeing that in that person, but you're disregarding all the flaws of that person. So just that one thing, like I said the other day, don't leave your 80 for your 20. Okay. And if you only have 20 of that person, say bye.
All right. And
Okay.
half of the time you ain't even got 20, you got
Ex-
5.
exactly. So say bye. Stop holding on to stuff that God wants you to let go of. Leave your baggage at the door. That's why they have dumpsters. Okay. I need you to put it in the dumpster.
And see, that's the thing. A lot of people have become hoarders in the spirit and the
Hmm.
natural.
Yes.
In the spirit and the natural. I need y'all to hear me. A lot of people have become hoarders in the spirit and the natural. You're hoarding things that God did not intend.
And it has piled up so much that you don't even know where to start to let it go.
Right. You need to go through a serious spring cleaning and and
Exactly.
and get rid of a whole lot of stuff.
I'm gonna need you to do a
Exactly.
winter, spring, summer, and fall cleaning. Okay.
Right. 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 I
Oh,
need
mercy.
I need you to do something every season. I need you to look around. and
Oh, mercy.
I need you to look around, assess the whole situation. Okay, this
I'm
needs
an
to be thrown
I'm
away.
just gonna be transparent. I'm gonna need y'all to go dush. Just clean out your insides, okay?
You.
Just
Wow.
clean,
Okay. All right.
Just
just clean
wow.
it all the way out. Just let
Wow.
it go.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Like
clean it
Yeah.
clean it all out. All right? Let it completely go. I want all the bacteria out. I want it all out.
but Auntie, why you saying bye? See, this is why, like
No, she said bye when I said if you only have 20, say bye. So
Oh, by the
she
way,
can hear
tell Auntie I said hi.
that. Auntie can hear you.
yeah.
Uh,
But like I was about to say, well, why you saying bye? See, don't say bye because she talked about people in their inside parts. I did not mention that. Okay, first of all, if you haven't done that in a long time, or there's something going on there, go see
Oh,
your
hey,
OB.
hey, hey. Okay, I got it. I got it, ladies. Oh my goodness.
Clean yourself from the inside out. Bye, pinch.
Yes,
She said bye, pinch.
Woo,
Whew.
yes,
mercy.
yes. I mean, we gotta address it, y'all. Though, for real.
Come on, guys. Self-evaluate for
At
real.
the end of the day, a lot of people are hoarding things that you should have got rid of a long time ago,
Hmm.
and you're holding on to it for what? Like, it has no significance to you. It's just there. You got stuff that you ain't even looked at in like 7 years. At- If you ain't touched it in 7 years, it has collected a whole lot of dust. Please have a yard sale and get rid of it.
I
Or
ain't
Make
getting
sure
just
rid
begin
of
putting
that.
it in a
or
dump.
just give it away.
I
Some
ain't getting rid of that shirt. I'ma get back in that shirt. You bought that shirt 10 years ago and you still can't fit it. Throw it away.
And the fabric's going out. You know cotton don't last that long. Come
Come
on
on
now.
now.
You ain't got to do nothing with that. It was cotton.
Glennie Johnson said, "It's the truth." Yet she said, "Is the truth." Yet you're telling the truth, what they want to hear it or not, whether they want to hear it or not. I agree, Miss Glennie.
Yes. I mean, at this point in life, you should know where you're trying to go. Like, if you don't and you're in your 30s, something is wrong. Even especially if you're older than 30.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, if you don't know where you're headed and you don't know where you're trying to go, you're 35 and up, baby. I need you to really take a gander about yourself, do a self assessment, and
Yep.
ask yourself what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Okay?
like going to the store for dinner and don't know what you're gonna cook.
Right. I mean,
You be walking in the store for hours trying to
it's like
figure it
having
out.
a house full of food. It's like your house is a grocery store. You know you got a house full of food, and then you just gonna look and say, "Okay, I'm hungry, but I'm lazy today, so I'm not gonna cook nothing. I'm gonna just go to bed." Like what?
And can I
Like,
say this? Stop looking for other people to validate you and validate yourself.
Oh,
Please
oh, really?
look in the mirror and tell yourself daily that you're beautiful. Just because a man tell you you're beautiful, it does not mean anything. Or
a
okay, I'm
lot of
not gonna
times,
say that.
a lot of times, and it's not every guy. It's not every guy, but a
Right?
lot of times that's a pickup line.
Yes.
Okay, let's just be real. A lot of times that's a pickup line. Now, every once in a while, you'll run across a real guy who meant what he said. That's what
You
he
look
really
nice
that's
today.
what he really thinks about you.
Mhm.
But most of the time, the rest of them, you already know that you're really not their type.
Right.
Okay, don't fool yourself. You don't fool yourself. Okay, so we don't have to tell ourselves that we are the GQ model of the day, knowing that you got extra curves, lumps, and bumps, and you're not happy with what you're looking at, and you know that other individual ain't gonna be happy with it either, because that's not their type. Stop trying to fit yourself into somebody else's world
Mm.
when you know that that ain't it. A lot of times we try to assert ourselves
Mm.
in places that we shouldn't be asserted. Okay, especially us as women. And I'm sorry, I know some of y'all don't want to hear that, but ladies, stop trying to make yourself fit into a guy's life who don't want you.
The Bible said it best. He who finds a wife. The man is the hunter, ladies. Stop looking. Stop chasing him. Let him do the chasing.
Too many times I see too many of my ladies do that. And then you're mad when he finally stops to say, I have tried to be nice about it, but since you won't let me, I just don't want you. I'm not even looking at you like that. I ain't never looked at you like that. I think you cool people, but as far as somebody I want to date, you ain't it. Don't
Or
get
worse than, or worse than that, you open yourself up to everybody who are looking for that
that personality, that hole, that deficiency that they didn't put there, that we put on ourselves.
Right.
And because we keep throwing it out there, we literally put a red light special and say, come over here. If you have nobody else to take advantage of, I'm the one that you can.
Right.
Mhm.
Because we keep chasing, because people see you chasing, people see you go past that way, come back the rest of the way. And so the ones who are out there searching to take advantage see it too.
Right.
And but
Mhm.
if you calm down, I know it's hard, man. It's hard to tell oneself, I should have shaved this morning, that type of thing. Amen. I ain't going out to try to find somebody. If I bump into them at the store, Lord, if it's for me, amen, I'll do a best shot. But I know I'm rugged right now. I know that may not be as sharp as I wanted to. We have to look at where we are. And we have to understand that if we didn't put in the effort, why you expect somebody else to?
Right.
Mm.
And not only that, let's go ahead and address this aspect of what some people also try to do. And this comes from both sides, men and women. I have seen men that have known certain females for years. You never gave them a time of day. Then all of a sudden, they look extra good to you for some reason. But you got a motive behind that. Your motive is right now, you need assistance.
It's income tax time.
You need
Say what it
assistance,
is.
okay? You need assistance. So you're going to them because you need assistance. And
Mhm.
because
So
you
Quinn,
need
are you
assistance
saying
right
you're
now,
looking the other way around Valentine's?
um,
Say what
It's
okay?
it
like
is.
Don't
I don't
don't
see nobody. I don't see
if
nobody.
I wasn't married, don't call me the one day out of the year that you know you can go eat.
Right.
Okay? When you could have called me and knocked on my door and got a plate anytime before that day. Don't call me on Valentine's Day.
Mhm.
All right? Because you
Mhm.
still gonna be hungry messing with me. Okay? So no. No,
Ah.
don't call me on Valentine's Day. Mm-mm. No, sir, no ma'am. All right? Because my whole thing is if I have not talked to you, I have not heard from you. Do not call me on the one day that you can go feed your face, eat and drink, and you feel like somebody finna pay for it and you go eat and drink for free.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. I mean, we all know that not everybody comes with motives, but we know
Right.
when people do. And some of us, when you in that place where you don't want to be, you having a moment you don't want to be by yourself, you decide to
Right.
endeavor into the foolishness with some
What?
of these people.
There's a
Like,
place? There's a
yes,
moment?
it's a place in
What?
the moment. Yes, you
Oh my
decide
God.
to endeavor into foolishness with some of these people, and then it ends up costing you in the end. It costs you a whole lot of headache, time that you really didn't have to waste, and a whole lot of other stuff. So at the end of the day, like, no, don't do that. That I mean, I just can't take it, y'all. My foolishness level is like a thread thin, and I can't. So I mean, I'm just saying, y'all, you gotta understand. Okay, you say, hey, Miss Glennie, you said you're right. Everything is not for everybody, and everything look good ain't good for you. Be careful what you ask for. You might just get what you don't want. You right. You are absolutely right because you do have to be careful what you ask for. Because a lot of times when you go asking for something, not that God won't supply it, He'll give you your heart's desires because the word said it. But there's also something known as the counterfeit. The counterfeit can show up looking like everything you just asked for
That's right.
and be not it.
Mhm.
And you find out later on. Sometimes you find out too late, and you don't want things to cost you time, effort, mental capabilities too, because some people will prey on that. Some people will come along when they know you in a vulnerable state and make that vulnerability worse.
Mhm. That's true.
You know what I mean? So you don't need that. If you're already dealing with something and you're already in a vulnerable place, when you're vulnerable, you don't need extra. You need to deal with that first. Don't bring on the extra, because you got the people that'll come and say, "Oh, well, let me just come by and I'm gonna come and sit with you. We ain't gotta do nothing but sit. You ain't gotta be by yourself." They sugarcoat it and dress it up real nice.
Ain't
And
nothing
But
open after 10, but
mm,
and if you start noticing the time that they want to come by, just like T just said, it get later and later. No, you can't come over here. I
another
open my door.
another thing that we do, especially women, we talk too much. Okay, so you meet this person and you in your vulnerable state, you just broke up with somebody and you tell them exactly what the other guy did that caused y'all to break up. Then you tell him exactly what you like. Guess what you did? Told him how to be that counterfeit. You told him how to fake the funk
Hmm.
until he could not fake it anymore. So you just told him, "Oh, I was in abuse. Oh, I just want somebody to send me some flowers. Oh, my favorite color is purple. Oh, I just want I like Mickey Mouse and I like this and I like." So he start sending you flowers, or he go pick some out somebody's yard or take them off somebody's grave. Um
so Quinn, are you saying that this person came to an interview,
yes.
was hired, and then went
Mhm.
to a training class
Yes.
on exactly what to do?
Absolutely. That's exactly what happened. So
Was
this
able
Right.
to
was for
was
6
able to
months.
perform a good job for a
Yes.
Yes.
couple of weeks to a few months, and
Yes.
then got
Yes.
fired.
And then wait,
Past
but
every
see, the
Q&A
problem
assessment.
with the firing, now we had to build up the documentation. So it took another 3 years before he even got released.
Mhm.
Come
That's
on
how it
now.
happened.
Right, Auntie, sing your own flowers.
That's
That's
right.
right. Go take yourself to dinner because you can afford it.
That's it.
Well, not to mention, Auntie, you know you're gonna get the ones you want. They ain't gonna be off the side of the
Right.
road.
Right. Some that you can look. First of all, I can remember when somebody went and got me flowers, but you went and got me a set of flowers that I was allergic to.
Whoa! Didn't even listen. Didn't even ask. Wasn't worried about.
Mm, mm.
Got the flowers, brought them to my front door, and I just sneezed right in his face. Like I'm just just sneezing. I can't leave from the door because I'm sneezing so much. I'm like, what is going on? And then when I looked down at the type of flowers they were, I was like, oh my God, you tried to kill me. What is happening? I can't. Uh-uh.
See, in today's world, Coco, you would have slammed the door, picked your cell phone up, and called them on the front porch.
Look, it was so
What is wrong with you?
I
Right.
look, but I didn't have to because when he handed me the flowers, when I sneezed in his face, he rolled down my steps.
Oh my goodness!
It was just like I didn't have to do that. But it was just
Wow.
like you just tried to kill me. Like you don't understand. Like, no, I can't do nothing with these. And I had to throw them right there in the yard.
Okay.
But I had to make sure he was okay first because I was like, look, I don't have insurance to pay for you. So I need you to get up. So I was like, you
Yeah.
gotta get up. So you don't know. But yeah, I've had stuff like that happen. I've even had somebody take me out on a so-called date. And at that particular time, I was allergic to seafood.
And so where they take you, Red Lobster?
You took me to a place. No, they took me to a place that sold everything, but they thought that they was being the Mr. Nice Guy, and I'm gonna order for you. What they ordered was
Oh,
full of seafood. So
wow.
as I'm sitting at the table eating, I'm like, okay, them mac and cheese is my favorite thing, but I didn't know it was seafood mac and cheese. And
Mm,
so after I
Right.
had already taken 2 bites, and then all of a sudden I'm swelling up like Will Smith on Hancock.
mm.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I've had some wonderful moments.
Mm.
Yeah, that's why I can't do those. Yeah, just have to work out for my life. Like I need you to pay attention. If you can't pay attention, I might die messing with you. So no,
Right.
I can't. So yeah, I mean, I've seen people do a lot to try to impress you to do certain things, but you know when they're paying attention and you know when they're not.
That's true.
Well, I just think it always comes back to some of the things that both of you comment on excellently. It's about communication. It
Mhm.
takes nothing but an item to listen. If I'm playing a video game, I'm an old dude. There's something online and I'm trying to accomplish. Now I've got a goal. And I'm going to be so good at it that I'm going to talk to you while I do it. Same thing, you can't do it. We all can't talk at the same time. You
That's
can't
right.
divide everything. You're only going to get a bit from both. If you
Right.
divide, there's something that's going to get lost. And so at the end of the game, I'm sitting up going, man, that was nice for her to come in and sit with me. She's thinking, great, he knows I need this done tomorrow. You have no clue because you divided. You didn't listen. Yes, you walked away thinking that everything was good, but tomorrow is coming.
Hmm.
Consequences and repercussions.
Right.
Yes.
It
Right.
only it
Mhm.
only takes to communicate. You know,
Mhm.
And that's the problem. That's one of the biggest problems that we have as people, communication.
I said
A
something.
lot of time, people think that you're supposed to automatically know. I'm not a mind reader.
Mm-mm.
I
A
said something.
closed mouth don't get fed.
Right. I said something to someone about relationships. There are people you can call on the phone and talk for hours. They just are.
Mhm.
Now you get married to somebody who you can talk in brief spurts with, but you enjoy doing other things with.
Hmm.
Notice, Quinn, how I just stopped there. Okay, just giving that one to you. But in the midst, in the midst of all of that, we forget that there's going to be days that you want to be sitting in the living room or sitting in the bedroom on the bed and just enjoying a movie and
Mhm.
just talking about something after what came across Twitter, what you saw on Facebook as a news article. If you can't have conversation with the person and they don't know anything, what do you think is going to happen for the rest of your life trying to be with them?
That's it. That's
You
it.
know, and there's a reason that you're supposed to be able to be friends first and that you question, do I jeopardize this friendship to take it to another level?
That's right.
If
Say
you
that
say
again.
yes to
Say
it,
that again. Because people don't understand how important friendship is in a relationship.
Hmm.
exactly. That's just a big deal about it. Is people don't want to accept.
Mm.
Remember, we go back to the beginning of our conversation. We
Mhm.
have to fill this spot. We have to accept that. We know that was trash. We'd have thrown it out yesterday if it was put on our
Mhm.
doorstep. We wonder why there was trash man left it in the first place. But oh my goodness, I can't. If I don't have that trash, what trash am I gonna have?
Mhm.
Right.
Well, maybe you weren't supposed to have trash at all. Maybe it was supposed to be gold, frankincense, and myrrh. You know what I
Right.
mean? Why are you dealing in trash?
Mhm.
Right.
you
But
know?
that's just like when you got like you have different levels of friends, right?
Mhm.
Like Q is my sis, but I have a best friend that we have been friends pretty much 35, 39 years of my whole entire life. Okay? And I mean we don't talk every day, but when we talk, it's just like we never missed a beat. She knows me better than anybody knows me. Lisa, I love you. But yeah, she knows me better than anybody knows me. And at the end of the day, like you couldn't tell her that I said certain things about her, and she not looking
Exactly.
cross-eyed
That's
because she be
right.
like, no,
Exactly.
no. First of all, she didn't say that, and second of all, if she did, she would have called me, or she would have came over here and told me to my face.
Mhm.
She knows me well enough to know that. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, when you got people around you who know these things, and it's just like between me and my husband. Me and my husband, that's my best friend.
That's right.
That's my other best friend. At the end of the day, there is nothing that I can't talk to him about. No matter how embarrassing I feel it might be, no matter what I think it might make me feel like when I'm done talking about it. And the one thing that I can always expect out of his mouth is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's how he gives it to me. No
Well,
sugar.
I just remember one line out of a few good, actually two lines out of a few good men. It's like this wonderful guy is yelling at two people, and we're talking about. Um, I always like to talk about Mr. Nicholson. Uh, Tom Cruise yells at him, "I want the truth," and he yells back at him, "You can't handle the
And
truth."
the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And so many of us can't handle the truth. We want to
That's
ask
true.
for it,
Uh-huh.
but we can't handle
But
it.
can't
We
handle
That's
it.
can't,
true. That's
how
true.
how I look in his dress.
Right.
Really? You looked
Right.
in the mirror before anybody else ever looked in the mirror.
Right.
You know
No,
what I
let me
mean?
tell you something. When it comes to a woman and the way they dress, I blame their friend
Yeah.
because they was not a friend. You allowed her to go out the house looking like that.
Right.
Cause I'll call Coco sometime like, how this look?
And
How
I'll give her a look. Sometimes I won't say nothing. And then
But
then
it's still the truth.
then
It's still the
sometimes I be
truth.
like,
right.
oh, I know who you about to wear that for.
See,
You know, and that be my thing. So she know, you know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, I know who you finna wear that for. No, ma'am.
Or be like, put on a different color with that. Don't go all black, cause I love my black. I love
Right.
my purple, but I love my black too. And I could wear black 5 days a week. It is what it is.
yeah, because that's what I heard. Black Lives Matter.
Yes. Lift black voices.
Hi, Stan.
Taste it.
What up, dog? What up? We know we shout out to you.
So
But
yeah.
yes, I mean that is like the one question that most females will ask to see if the guy's gonna tell her the truth. And I'm one of them. And even if you ask your so-called friend, I'm one of them who will tell a person quick, you ain't got no real friend. And they
Right.
be like, why? Because they let you come outside look like that.
Right.
Your real friends knew what was gonna happen when you came outside looking like that. And y'all was gonna go out together.
Mhm. She just wanted to look better than you.
I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. Spandex and myself have nothing to do together. It
Wonderful.
just there's
Thank you.
not a way that it'll work on me. It's not a way that it can accent
Great.
anything, unless I want to tell everybody how messed up I am.
That
Okay.
means whenever we get together for a wonderful retreat, I don't expect to see you in Speedos. Bless the Lord and all his people. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Speedos.
So,
I've never understood Speedos because there's no way that you can hide certain items in Speedos. So
okay.
that's like, come on now.
Help Jesus kill the visual.
And if you can, I hate to say it, you should have thought before you put on the Speedos.
First of all, that don't work for everybody. No offense to some of the men, but please don't put on those Speedos and you know you got a button nose in front. I,
Okay.
That no.
I need,
Let's get off
I need you not
okay.
to do that. But okay.
Coco, at least I know that you got it covered, Quinn. Thank you very much for your illustration,
I'm just saying.
Quinn.
I'm just saying. I mean, everything ain't for everybody. Okay, I'm just saying.
And
Really,
unfortunately, the
Stan?
button nose may not be for many people at all.
I'm just saying. Everything ain't for everybody.
Exactly. Certain things or are for her or his eyes only, not the world. Okay, so keep it covered. Keep
Right.
it covered.
Yes.
Thank
I mean,
you.
you know,
Because what's mine is mine.
right. And we don't, and ladies, I love all of you. Please hear me and hear me well. We don't have to wear mediums.
Oh.
We don't have to do that. We don't
If
have to
you
wear
have to
mediums.
lay down
There's plenty of
to
clothes
zip
that
it up,
actually fit.
it's too small.
Yes, there's plenty
Okay.
of clothes that actually fit. We don't
If
have to
you
wear
have to
mediums.
jump up and down to pull them up, It's too small. Don't do it. Okay?
You
Okay.
don't have to do this mediums because when you do this mediums, you know everybody's gonna look. Was that your goal? Because if that was your goal, you achieved it. So I'm just letting you. I'm just letting you know. I'm just saying. We don't have to do this mediums. I can't stand it.
Yes,
And it
Auntie,
ain't. And
respect yourself.
it's not just the females. Guys too. I need y'all to stop wearing this medium jeans.
Okay.
I can't take it. Your jeans are smaller than mine, and I'm 3 times bigger than you. And you got my size. I don't know how you put them on. What is
They
happening?
don't. They
And
don't put
and
them on.
if
That's the
anybody was gonna come
problem.
along to chase you, you can't run because you're trying to hold them up because they halfway down your tail.
Okay.
Who
Wow.
who, who
Okay.
told you? Who told you this
Coco
was
had a
cute?
day today, y'all.
I'm not sure what closet everybody else is in, but mine's all right.
I mean, I'm just saying. Who told you this was cute? Because to be honest, if you sagged back in the day, it meant that you had a certain status. So
Right.
I need y'all to take that.
It still means that. A lot of people don't understand where that came from. It
Oh
men,
no, they
listen,
do. They do
they do.
understand,
You right.
and
You
they
right.
look past it,
Right.
or
But
they're
you're telling
participating in that. That's
somebody,
what they say.
if you don't, I'ma say you don't, okay? But you are telling someone that you are available. Okay? Okay. I'm being nice here on for the
Right,
sake of tea. So you are telling someone you are available. So stop. Pull your pants all the way up your behind, please. They
right,
belong up.
right.
Yes, they stop at the thighs, and it's just so
A
not
man, a
appropriate.
man still looks good with some nice designer jeans on, because I know that's
Yes,
what y'all like to wear. Pulled up with a nice shirt on, and you still looking fly with all your swag.
yes. Put a
You can
belt
have all
on,
your swag with
please,
your pants up. I don't
and a
understand,
belt. Hey, Fred.
you know. So I mean, I don't understand. I'm trying to get the understanding, y'all. If you have an understanding and a perspective for me to get, please fill me in because I'm clueless as to why you know your jeans are this small, but you're this big. You
Well,
know,
it's really interesting because you'll hear a lot of people, and I like to say the younger area who listen to, Lil Wayne and folks like that, and they want to say, yeah, we understand where it came from, but that's not what it means today. It's fly. Well, it's the same situation because a lot of these people who are saying that they're, hard bros, blah, blah, have been to jail, and that proves how hard they are. Well, trust me, there's really only one side on one side of that jail, and they have spent how many years there?
right,
So, when you're saying they're coming out, they may not be talking to you about what happened in there. You
Right,
may not get a video that shows they're 24 hours a day, but they just left a lifestyle.
right.
right. But listen, on a
And
serious note, with your pants sagging down, with your clothes too small, you're not getting a professional job anywhere. Your career is no, you cannot walk into a business with
oh no,
your
no,
pants.
you
Oh,
misunderstood the look on my face.
oh,
The look was is they're not looking for that.
that's true.
See,
Mhm.
they tell themselves, oh, they judged me before I came in. Yes, they did. You're telling yourself that nobody will hire you because you're still good. Yeah, you keep telling yourself that, but you
Right.
have already proven that you already listen to a certain style of information. I'll put it there.
But
Mhm.
You
and
listen
if
to certain type of songs. You
mhm.
listen to certain type of because you're not reading to a lot of stuff. So that's not always there. There may be some who read, but the majority aren't. Okay.
But
Mhm.
So anybody on there that wants to say,
if they're following these rappers, a lot of these rappers got business degrees and
Yeah.
have their own business and have a business background. A lot of
and
them do, and they will tell you rapping is not my life. That's not where my money come from.
Mm-mm.
but a lot of them are also bisexual.
I don't
Yeah.
care what they are.
But that's
But they got a
the reason I'm
brain.
saying they're the ones bringing the style to the general public.
Yeah, because
Those people are
now,
listening to their information,
because now
and
not
that is
only
what
do,
they're practicing.
I
but
got
now
that,
it's
but
not
they're
just the skinny jeans situation
right.
anymore. Now you got them wearing whole
That
dresses.
that's what I was going to say. I
What
I
about
got
Cam?
all of that,
I mean,
but
I thought
but
Cam
guess
was
what?
wonderful.
But they got their money before they started with the openness.
Look, my whole
Think
thing,
about it.
my whole thing is you be what you want to be, but whatever
Mhm.
you gonna be true about it.
Exactly.
That's. I mean, it's just cut and dry. If whatever you want to be today, be true about it. And at the end of the day, you can't be this way today, and you got this persona in public, but
Mhm.
behind closed doors, this is what it really is. And,
Right.
and that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother day. It's too
Mhm.
many. It's too many DL people.
Right.
I mean, and that's all across the board. It's a lot of that in ministry.
I was going to say that in the
It's
church.
a lot of that in ministry, and people know it, and you see it, and you don't do nothing about it, and you don't address it, and it is what it is. And then you wonder why people in your congregation got tendencies. You don't have to wonder.
Because most people or leadership is worried about the gift instead of the person's soul.
Mm.
But that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day.
So I mean,
So,
there's no need of wondering. At the end of the day, if you know, I'm not saying that you don't have a wonderful gift. I'm glad you know how to
mhm,
use it. Wonderful. But at the end of the day, let's not act like we don't know the whole story.
that's right.
Okay, we not saying that you can't use your gift. You got it. Use it because you need to use it. If you don't use it, it goes dry. So
Mhm.
that's not what I'm saying at all. But what I'm saying is for all of the people who like to try to play dumb things down and you act like you don't know, and then when it come out, you want to act like you're so surprised. I need you to stop it.
Yeah, I'm going to walk on eggshells here, not,
Mhm.
but I'm going to make this particular statement. So many times, and when we approach the lifestyle question, the Bible literally says no. Um, and people say, well, you got to love people where they are. Yes, the Bible does not give you consent to not love. Jesus loved everybody, he is love. And the fact is that we still have to love those people. But let's not forget that the Bible said, those who do this shall surely die.
Hmm.
It doesn't negate love, but it says that's what's going to happen. You know, the same thing it says about adultery. It doesn't make it go away. Do we still love the people? Absolutely. But
Right.
this does say adultery is wrong. It's not permissible. So we try to approach things from a, well, what's the thing about the eating? You don't want to cause a young Christian to stumble.
Hmm.
Well, I understand that. But at some time, 2 + 2 = 2. You can't change it to 18. You can't change it to 5. It's 2 + 2. I'm sorry, equals 4. I don't know why I just said it. I had too many twos in there. But anyway, y'all get the point. It doesn't change unless you're on a podcast and you're making a statement. So,
Ah, look, look, we just saying, look, the art of everything is right. And I mean, right now, it's just being true about who and what you are. Look, I mean, you can't be faulted for being truthful.
right.
You can't
And
be
the
faulted for being
ultimate thing
truthful.
is, I talked to my brother one time, Coco, and I said, you know what? You have a sin of smoking. I can see that. I can see what is happening. I can smell it. It's right there. I said, but you don't know all about my sins. You don't know the things I struggle on. You don't know if I look at a woman, if I'm now lusting after. Unless I say something or I stare too long, you'd have no idea. So
Hmm.
just because, and I want everybody on here to hear, just because we're pointing out these items of where you are, that does not negate love. We're not saying that. We're saying, like Coco just made the statement, be true to yourself. Know where you are. it improves your walk with God. It improves improved walk with God, improves your life. And before you know it, you're not thinking about anything but what pleases God.
Right.
You wake up in the morning praising. You will go to bed in the evening praising. You walking through the day driving your car praising.
Right.
And but it's a process. Nobody wakes up the next day and knows algebra.
Right.
They
Yeah.
don't, you know.
And
Like you
I don't
said,
go ahead.
I was going to say, like you said, my thing is sin is sin.
Hmm.
But a lot of times in the church, leadership look past certain sins and they compromise. And that's one of the biggest problems because the person can be true to their self, but because the leadership don't want to deal with that aspect of that, they're just not dealing with it at all. They look past it, they disregard it, and they're not worried about, once again, that person's soul. That person may be hurting. That person may be in abuse. That person may have it be in fornication and want to come out but don't know how.
Hmm.
It's so many things that that person may be dealing with, but we don't want to deal.
Right.
I don't
And
want to take this on. It's too much. So I'm going to just disregard it and keep it moving and I'm just going to preach my sermon.
right.
No. And
See,
then the person go commit suicide.
see, the biggest thing that I was referring to is let's look at the situation with Tonex.
With
Tonex,
whom?
Tonex, wonderful gospel singer, has been a gospel singer for years, and he's been very flamboyant since forever. At the end of the day, they knew this about him already, but they didn't say anything about him being gay until he came out and said it out in the open himself. When he said it out in the open himself, then he gets shunned from everybody's church. Nobody wants him on their platform anymore. But
Right.
you knew, and you knew the whole time until he opened his mouth about it openly. He was singing on your platform before that. Now all of a sudden he can't.
So to me,
So it's
he crying out now, and now you don't want to deal.
now all of a sudden he can't. Now because he chose to break his silence and not be silent about it anymore. Because that door got open. That now that lifestyle, you can talk about it, you can do whatever you want with it. Now that when that door got open and he opened and he said it, now, oh, you can't sing on my platform anymore. I'm not gonna call you to do any more concerts here. That man's
Question.
whole career almost tanked after he came out and said it openly, but people knew that before.
Here's a question for you on that one. If a minister comes out and says, I slept with 25 women in this church, I need to be open about it. Should he still be aka a minister at that church? Or what happens with that?
Well, it depends on who he's under. If he's under true leadership, he's gonna get set down. You know what I mean? It's going to
Well,
get addressed. It's going to get addressed, and he's going to
mhm.
get sat down. Because if they didn't know, that's what's going to happen. You see what I'm saying? Once you come out and that's what you say that you did, okay, they're gonna okay. Let's have a little side meeting, and after we had this meeting, there're gonna be some changes. You're probably not gonna like the changes, but I need you to get yourself together for a little bit, and then you can come back and do what you
Right.
do. That don't mean
Well,
that they're getting kicked out. That don't mean that they're really getting put out of their position, but they're gonna get sat down.
but here's my question on that. And the reason I ask it because the Bible talks about deacons and who they should be and what their character should be.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
if you're not at that particular position, you shouldn't be a deacon.
Yeah, but
So
that's
why does
that's with
that not
any position
confer
though.
with anything else
But
in the
that's with
church?
any position. That's the whole
Yeah, that's
point. With
any.
any position, there
Right.
are stipulations behind every leadership position. Now, do the churches really, really hold that to a standard? I can't say yes about that because a lot of the churches that I have dealt with, no, they have not. A
No.
bishop is supposed to be the husband of one wife. I know bishops
Exactly.
who have been married 4 and 5 times. They're not supposed to be bishops because that means you've had more than one wife, and the first wife you had ain't dead. So that means you have been a husband of more than one wife, and technically you're not supposed to be a bishop.
I
So I
mean,
mean, when you go through that process, if you look at what all of them entail, there's a lot of people walking around with titles they shouldn't have.
and I mean, for me, I got pregnant out of wedlock in the church as a leader. They stood me up in front of the church, told everybody I was pregnant, like, and then when I went to them when I'm about to divorce, instead of her and knowing my pastor husband was in a backslidden state, they told me if I left my husband that they had to sit me down, knowing he was abusing me. He in the backslidden state. Knowing all this is going on, but you gotta sit me down and you're gonna compromise because whatever reason. And this is my issue when it comes to certain leadership. Not all, because some of them will walk that word and they
Mhm,
will minister to you.
mhm,
However, there are some that don't want to deal with that part.
mhm.
Now, did they sit me down when I got pregnant out of wedlock? No, they did not. Did they minister to me? No, they did not.
No, but what they did was they tried to do an open rebuke. That's why
They
they pulled you
open
over.
rebuked
They
me.
did an open rebuke. And see that's a whole nother aspect of what some
Question:
people
did she
do.
open rebuke her son?
No,
That,
no, he didn't get stood up. I said I got stood up in front of the church. She's pregnant. Okay, but I didn't get myself pregnant. And this is why she hasn't been coming. No, it wasn't that I wasn't coming to church because I was pregnant. I wasn't coming to church because I had a pinched nerve and I was in too much pain.
and see,
So,
the Lord was with you because I would have turned my head and said, "See, this ain't why I've been. This, no, this ain't got nothing to do with why I ain't been coming."
and that's what I
And
Yeah.
said.
and I would
That's
have turned my whole body. Excuse me, that one over there is the daddy. And if you're gonna pull me up, you need to pull him up too.
they
So let's
already
go ahead and
I'm
get this.
sorry. I'd have went
they
further than that. I'd have been
it's
like,
all family church. So
I'd have
Now,
been like, ye servants of the devil, how dare you not call out the evil lich that is over there, who is the son of that wretch who serves Satan and is called a pastor. Yeah.
all right, come
God
back.
would have had to bring me down on that one. I'd had to pray
okay,
a
hold on,
lot when I got home.
hold
And
May
on.
you
had to fast a bit, but
come
that
back.
came on out.
Come back. Okay. So
Let's address some stuff that's in
for
the
every
comment.
action, there is a reaction, Stan. I totally agree with you. And there
Yeah,
are consequences behind some truth.
yeah.
Yes, there is consequences behind some truth.
And then Fred says, "Funny how being open about who you are gets you immediate boot from a church." Well, this,
Ah,
but not always immediate, but most times than not. Yeah.
Right.
And then certain church folks and leaders will shun you and banish you to hell because of a mistake or error that was made.
And you know what? A
ah.
lot of hold on. He got a point there
Yeah.
because a lot of preachers will send you to hell when they ain't got a heaven or hell to
To
put you
Gene,
in when God is a God of grace and mercy. They
right.
don't ever tell you most of the time about repenting. They don't never work with you. How about some counsel? How about helping me to get to where I need to be?
What-
Okay.
See,
Are
hold
we
on,
talking
wait.
about the soul or are we talking about position?
What?
Wait a
Are
minute,
we
wait.
talking about the soul or are we talking about position? That's where my came from. Because if your position is what you're saying is the shunning, I mean, look, if I do malpractice, everybody ain't coming to my office anymore as a doctor.
You ain't gonna have
No,
a license
they're not
anymore.
talking about the position.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But
they're not
why
talking about the
why all of
position.
a
They're
sudden?
talking about
But
it's
if
the
we're talking about the
It's just
soul, I should be fine with sitting down and getting my soul together so I can get into heaven.
right. It's the
right,
And
soul. It's never about the position. It's always
right.
about the soul. And see, that's the thing. Some people that when they put you out or they get this mode where they say, "Oh, you gotta go." Okay, I mean, I had a church do that to me, and I said, "Thank you. You did me a favor. I didn't have to do it myself."
right. But here's a question. We're
Oh,
talking about the
sorry.
single, right?
Yeah.
Let's use that particular person as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in his coming out of who he felt he was and
Mm-hmm.
where he felt he was that I have realized what I've done and I'm now moving in a different direction, or it was, hey, I just need y'all to know I'm gonna hit that booty next night, but I'm happy to sing for you.
No, it wasn't that at all. When he came out, he said that he was tired of feeling like he was living a double life.
So,
Um,
which life
So
did he choose,
he was
God
seeking
or his
help.
sex life?
well, to him, he's always been serving God. In his mind, that's where he was. He felt like he's always been serving God because he never denied who he was. It's just
But
that
that's my point.
with his in his situation, he knew that his lifestyle, if he was open about it, that he already had the inkling or the feeling that he wouldn't have made it as far as he did. I mean, you talking about this guy multiple platinum gospel albums for years, and then once he comes out, it's no album for 6 7 years after that because of how bad he was shunned about coming out. Now,
Okay.
so I mean, you got all of these people that bought all his stuff before that, but now all of a sudden that you come out and it's not like they didn't know, because you
Okay.
could say
Let me change this.
it's not like they didn't know.
Let
And
me
then
change this
when
to
you
another subject.
But to
If
me,
that
at
item was abuse, everybody knew he was doing it. Everybody knew he was going to continue to do it. But now he came out and said, "Hey, I'm an abuser."
right,
Do we now? And he says, "Oh, I know I'm an abuser. I don't want to live a double life. I want to openly abuse people." Nobody would sit there and go, "Hey, that's cool. You still serving God."
right, right. I
So
mean,
why do we treat this different?
I'm not saying that at all. But what my issue with that is, why shun him now? Why try to turn him away from the church that's supposed to heal him now when
exactly,
you have always known? It's not like they didn't know. They have always known.
they
But
act ignorant to the fact.
when he decided to openly say it, now you want to shun the man. You want to tell him that he's a heathen. He's this, that, and the third. But you have always known.
So here's a
But
question: has he always been a heathen?
No, I mean that's what they told him. I mean, I watched the video.
to me,
Yeah, I didn't. I
him,
apologize to everybody. I'm
I
talking third person. I have not watched the video. I
I
Yeah,
have
apologize.
not
So,
either.
he
But
has
to
he
me, the way
before that.
you're
No,
explaining it is like, to me, he's crying for help at that point. He's saying, I'm serving God, but I feel like I'm living a double life. So I'm crying out for help, but y'all pushing me away at this point. Now
and that's
I
where he
can't
was.
do nothing for y'all, but I'm truly crying out for help. I'm are y'all ministering to me? And no, Fred, to answer your question, open rebuke is
It's
not
not count.
counsel. It's not counsel at all. It's a way to kind of shame a person, because I
can
felt
I ask
like, allow
biblically?
me, but huh?
Biblically, when Jesus told the rich young ruler um, to put aside all his wealth and come with him,
Hmm.
Mhm.
and the ruler looked at him, turned away, and walked back to his wealth.
Mhm.
And was that shunning? What? So what? What point does that put that?
That
That
wasn't
Because
shunning.
wasn't
you're
He
saying
that
walked
he didn't
that
get
away.
to
wasn't
sing. You're
but that
saying
Walked
he
wasn't
didn't get
shunning.
to
He
away.
walked
sing
away.
anymore. He had Grammy albums. He was making money off of it. Now
Hmm.
he says, "Hey, but I'm still serving God."
Hmm.
But he
And
didn't
God
walk
says, "I need
away.
you to give up this one thing and then follow me."
But he
Right,
didn't
but
walk
he
away.
didn't. He never walked
He
away.
never
He
walked
never
away.
walked away. They pushed him away after
No,
that.
he knew what he was doing the whole time.
But if
I'm
you're
saying
crying out for
not.
help,
I'm not talking about the funds. I'm talking about instead of funds, the rich young ruler had money, right?
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
In this case, this particular person had his lifestyle.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And God said, "Hey, you're doing everything that you said you'd do. You've been praying, you've been preaching, you've been singing, you've got gospel albums. You are
Hmm.
awesome. Now just go in and leave the guys alone and follow me." He
But
Okay.
that,
publicly came on and said, "This is where I'm at. I'm
Right.
yeah,
I'm, I'm still going to do it.
because I'm still serving God. And Jesus said, do you want to do this or follow me? There's a verse that says, if you do this, you will surely die.
Right. That's
I
that
don't know
part is true. Now,
why everybody keeps
do
overlooking that
do
or
I? But do
denying
I
it.
feel like that's what he did? No, I don't feel like that's what he did at all. I feel like if you have been living a certain type of life and you're tired of living that way, if this is your way of saying, okay, I
Yeah, and
need
remember, I
I
didn't see the
need to come
video. I
out.
want to make sure everybody
Right.
remembers. I
If
didn't see the video.
I need to come out and say this because I mean you got to look if we're gonna take it all for face value, you got to take all of the word at face value. It
Mhm.
does say confess your sins one to another, so he
Exactly.
openly
Confess
confessed
the sin.
who he was, and when he did that, he got shunned because of it.
Okay.
But like I said, the biggest part about it is they
They
did
knew.
it as if they did not know, but they knew the whole entire time.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's similar with except he didn't get shunned, but with Donnie McClurkin, he said openly, "I am a gay man, but this is why I'm gay. I just don't practice it because now that I'm in the church, he thought it was the right thing to do because he was raped by his uncle and his uncle's son. He thought it was okay, but when he got in the church, he realized, okay, this is not okay. So, in taking the other situation, okay, I'm actually coming to you. I'm crying out for help now. Okay, it's okay for you to sit me down to say, okay, let's focus on your soul. Let's work with this. Let's
Mhm.
do this and then bring you back. But to push you completely out to
Mhm.
where you have nothing anymore, that's completely wrong.
Right. And I mean, if you think about it, you got to look at the situation with Bishop Eddie Long.
Right.
This man been a bishop for years, and
Mhm.
then all of a sudden, you got two young guys that come up to the front and say he might have
He
been a bishop for
molested me.
years, but this is what he been doing to me for years, and
Mhm.
I'm not the only one. And then
Yep.
you got 17 to 20 more young men coming up and saying the same
That's
thing.
right.
So when he got exposed, he wasted away after that, literally.
Mhm.
Literally. I mean,
That was scary.
right before everybody's eyes. You went from being this muscle bound dude wearing all these little tight muscle clothes in the church, and then all of a sudden you looking like you 110 pounds soaking wet.
Mhm.
Scary. That
I
was
mean,
now
literally
I don't
wasting,
know how go
literally
on,
wasting
Coco.
away in front of everybody. And at
Mhm.
the end of the day, when they asked him if he did it, he never actually denied it. All he said was that the truth will come out. That's all he said, but you never actually denied it. And then
Mhm.
when you go to court, if you didn't do something, why did you settle? You settled and paid everybody,
Mhm.
all of them, not just one, but all. So if you didn't do it, why you kicking out all of this money to people
Right.
you didn't hurt?
Right. And yes, Fred, a cry for help is a cry for help. That still should be answered irrespective of a person's status.
I mean, so
Agreed.
you got to think about that. It's a lot of stuff that goes what we call it, that whole you don't talk about it situation. I
Mhm.
feel like somebody just needs to do away with that whole little notion,
That's
because
right.
that right there has caused years and years
Of hurt.
of hurt and a lot of stuff for a lot of different people.
Mhm.
You know what
Not
I
just
mean?
in the church, but in
Not
families.
just in the
That's right.
yes. I mean that whole don't tell, don't
Mhm.
talk about it.
We don't
Don't
talk about what goes on in this house.
yeah, that right
Y'all,
there.
y'all know that. Y'all know it.
Yeah.
That whole thing. I mean, you got people who are holding on to stuff that happened to them at age 9 that are now 54 that decided to take their life yesterday
That's right.
because they still dealing with what happened to them at 9 years
That's
old.
right.
That's
That's
sad,
right.
y'all.
That's right. And that
Y'all-
man could have went and took his life because he could have felt like, okay, I don't have any help. I went to the people that I trusted the most that are supposed to minister to me and they're not.
and love me. And see that right there was one of the things that I really think um did the first twitch in his life, because when he did that, his thing was he was like, what happened to the whole agape love?
Right.
He was like, just because I told you that that's what I was dealing with, now you don't love me no more.
Mhm.
All love that you have for me is now gone.
I have this question because we talk about the screaming out for help. That this is a scream out for help. What is the repercussion of the scream out for help? Does that mean that you keep on singing, keep on getting invited to churches in spite of the lifestyle that you're doing while you're screaming out for help?
That means
Or did you literally relinquish? Because really, you're still supposed to be ministering to other people while this is happening.
Hmm.
Okay, and you're saying I'm ministering to you, but while I'm doing it, I'm not really going to follow what God says. But you take this and let it inspire you.
But it
So I
depends,
don't
because
know
some
what part of the.
people, it depends on the person. Because some people, after they cry out, if
Hmm.
you're willing to work with them, they'll sit their self
Step
down
down.
until they
Yeah.
get their self together, because they see the importance of them doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Whereas you have
So was that
others.
where he was?
Yeah, because he actually in the, I mean, you can pull it up on YouTube, but when you go back and actually watch the video, in the video he said, I just wanted somebody to kind of tell me what to do from there, because I was at a, he said that he was at a crossroad, and that's where he felt like he was. He was at a crossroad. And when you're at a crossroad, if you have never been there, that's a
Mhm.
very difficult spot,
Mhm.
And
because
I'm not
your
negating that. I
your faith
believe that.
teeter tottering, everything that you know don't seem like what it used to be. It don't mean the same thing it used to mean to you, and your mind going 1,000 miles per hour. I mean, it's a lot when you are really at a literal crossroad,
Mhm.
and that's where he said he felt like he was.
It's like you're in your own wilderness season. When I left that church after 11 years and I'm going through this divorce, I'm separated from my husband. It's like, okay, where am I going to go? Me and my mom don't have a good relationship. Then he ends up over there lying to her. So I leave her house prematurely with nothing. So now I'm taking my kids here and there, finally find a place, and God sends me to a Pastor Johnny at the time, Pastor Johnny Garner, and him and his wife took me under their wing. Like, but I was literally praying weekly, where am I going? I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know what I'm going to do. Lord, I need you to guide me. I need your help. And if it wasn't for them, I would have lost my mind.
Hmm.
They was like, "Look, this is where you're gonna be. We will sit down with you." They was like, "Come to dinner." They was inviting me to everything to make sure I was in the right mindset.
Hmm.
They covered me. I mean, truly covered me.
Hmm.
So when you're in that wilderness, it's hard.
Hmm.
It's hard. And my kids would just watch me cry. Like, they're like, "Mommy, like, hey, I don't know what to do. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know how we gonna make it. I don't have the answers. This was my life since I was 22. 11 years down the drain. Come on now." So it was nobody but God that got me through.
And for me, I've been at that place and in ministry, and when I felt like that's where I was, yes, I can say that I sat myself down. I went to my leader that I had at that time, and I was like, I can't do this right now. And
Amen.
when they was like, why, what's going on? I said, I really don't want to explain it. Just know I can't do this right now, because what I got going on, I don't need to filter out to nobody else. Let me deal with this first, and then I'll come back to you. But that's me. You know what I mean? I can't do that, especially I when I know me enough that when I'm dealing with something on such a harsh level, that the way my flesh is feeling about certain things, I would never minister to people when I'm in that type of state, because what I got to say, it ain't gonna come out right.
Mhm.
The way that I would need to flow, I'm not gonna be able to do that, because it ain't gonna be God. It's gonna be all me. And I don't want that. You know what I mean? You want to be able to move and do what God tell you to do, say what He need to say you to say, and that's how you want it to be. But I mean, everybody's situations are different, you know.
Right.
But for me, that's what I did. I would gladly sit myself down when I know I got too much going on.
And Fred, that's true. You can't be a help to people if you can't minister to
To
yourself
yourself.
or you can't help yourself. It's so true
And
because God ministers to you first. And if
yep,
you're in a place where you don't even want to hear him, you
What are you
that's
you
it.
giving?
trying. You
Right.
can't minister to anybody else. You trying and it's like, Lord, are you really there?
Right.
Like I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I don't want to hear from you. Let's just be real. I don't want to hear from you right now. I'm going through.
I mean, let's just stop and think about it. I want to say that it was just what, a couple years back, maybe 2014, 2015 ish. It could have been later, where you had all of these different pastors killing themselves,
Mhm.
taking their own lives. And but you looking like, wait a minute, they just ministered the word to me this morning. Now they
Mhm.
dead.
Right.
What's wait a minute, what happened?
Mhm.
Hold on, wait a minute. If that's the case, what did you feed me this morning?
Right.
Like you know, like that's how my mind worked. Cause I would have been like, hold on, wait a minute. I would have started rethinking everything they preached
Mhm.
all morning long and been like, wait a minute. No, what did you feed me this morning? If
That's
you if
right.
after you delivering a so-called strong, powerful word that you gave, if that's what you did, and then you go home and 4 hours later you dead and it's on the news
Mhm.
because you took your own life. You literally
Well,
just preached to a whole congregation of people.
on that part, um, it's one of the reasons why it talks about the bridesmaid being ready for the groom,
Hmm.
because we can be ready right now, but if I fall asleep, then I'm not ready when he shows up and he
Oh
goes
yeah.
away.
Mhm.
So yeah, you could have still been fed the word that morning, and that's why I prayed every day to that if I struggle, Lord, let me be ready when you come.
Hmm.
Whatever my up, whatever my downs, let me be ready when you come.
Right.
I want to ensure folks on here that the things that I'm saying, I'm asking questions. There are no fundamental nails in coffin. There's no right way that all this has to be handled because there are too many variables. There are too many variables, and they're called people lives. There
Hmm.
are too
Mhm.
many things that are happening, and they're called decisions.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And there are too many situations that are going on that are not including prayer.
Hmm.
So please don't take what I'm giving you and run to somebody else and say he can't be brought back and that he shouldn't have been rescued. Because the fact is, when somebody cries out, the proper way is already spelled out in the Bible how to assist them.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, that is not even just taking what Coco is saying and what Quinn is saying, that was not what the process was with this young man
Hmm.
who literally has encouraged people around the world.
Right.
He has
And that,
literally encouraged people around the world. He
yeah.
has the record sales to prove that. They put
Mhm.
money back into him as they were encouraged.
Hmm.
So, what the ladies are saying, don't take me as saying that was the ultimate or that's where it goes. But the ultimate item on this is that this man was not encouraged and wasn't helped in his time of need, which is the item of those who are ministry. They really
Mhm.
are leadership who
Hmm.
should have got in there. There are enough big ones around this country that are raking in millions. Some have two planes. So,
Hmm.
and other things going on. They could have flown in. They
Right.
could have invited him to a conference. He literally deserved more
For
than what he
me,
received.
what it is, and I get emotional sometimes just thinking about it, because when it comes down to ministry, that's not something that I play with. You know what I mean? I can joke with you, laugh with you all day, but when it comes down to ministry, you're talking about somebody else's soul being
That's
at
right.
stake, multiple
Exactly.
or
That's what it is.
multiple souls being at stake. And
That's
at the
right.
end of the day, those same people that was loving on him before should have continued
To love
to
on
love
him.
on him. And
That's right.
instead of doing that, they drop the ball and just
Mhm.
act like, oh, well, I don't know you now.
That's
Like
right.
I'm just disgusted by you now. And that's not what they should have done.
Mhm.
I,
That's where the ball was dropped. Like you just really dropped the
mhm.
ball when it came to ministry. That is when your ministry should have kicked into overdrive. And you should have
That's
said,
why I love what
you,
Quinn said.
you know,
That example,
And,
it,
and
exactly
see,
what you're saying.
and see, this is the thing. Yes, he was a singer. Yes, he had money, but this could be just an ordinary person.
yeah,
You're and he is an ordinary person because before he was that, that's what he
that's
is.
what it was.
And listen, when you're going through something and you reach out to somebody, everybody is not going to shun you away. So please don't hold it inside.
Hmm.
Please don't feel like you're alone.
Right.
Please don't feel like
Thank you.
there's
Thank
nobody
you.
that's going to be there for you
Thank you.
because there is help and we are
Thank you.
willing to help.
Right.
All you got to do
Thank
is
you.
reach out. If it's just the ear that you need, we will be willing to listen. So please, please, because I've seen so many people go through depression and anxiety and even attempt to commit suicide.
Hmm.
You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
We're
I mean,
here.
it's just so much. It's so much going on in the world now. Life is really short. You know what
Yes.
I mean? Life is too short for a bunch of, oh, I can't do this with you, or we can't be about this, but you're supposed to be this pastor or this apostle or this prophet, and you ain't got no love for
Mhm.
nobody.
Right.
You only love the people that love you. Like you don't love the people outside of your circle.
Right.
That's not right. You see it too many times, often than not. When you find a leader that really has a heart for the people, that is rare. And when you got it, you better hold on to it because it is hard to come by sometimes, especially this day and age. And I just got to be honest because you got a lot of people who are treating ministry like business now. It ain't
Mhm.
even about the souls, it's about who they can get in, the money they gonna bring in, what they can do, how they can publicize it, all of this stuff. I mean, you got churches that got PR firms
Mhm.
behind them. While we got whole public relation firms concerning your ministry. What
Right.
about you is that special that we got to have a whole PR team?
Right.
I
That
thought
is,
they were supposed to be called evangelists, weren't they? Wasn't
I,
that your PR team?
I
It's
mean,
like
like
I,
for real, for
I
real.
thought Jesus set that up. It's
Like
like,
I mean, it's just so much that you see now, and literally when you got people that come in and they say, "Oh, like walking through the door." I went to a church when I was still living in Atlanta. When I walked through the door, I didn't even get a chance to get seated. I didn't even get a hello before they was like, "Oh yes, and by the way, we take tithes and offering in all forms. We have the swipe. The ATM is right over there in the corner, and you can also give cash if you like." If you don't have cash, we also take checks. Just make sure they don't bounce. I don't know you. I'm a visitor coming through your door. That's what you tell me? Okay. Thank you, but no thank you. I turn around and walk back right back out the door. But ma'am, no ma'am, nothing. You stopped me before I could even get to the word with that right there. That mm, y'all have a nice day.
I pray that other people take the discernment that was given unto you when you walk through that door. Someone said to me once, when a situation like that happens, don't walk away, run, because it literally is saying, and I know churches are trying to be open about, hey, we got new technology. That's not the place for you to tell anybody.
No.
That it just wasn't. There was the welcoming. It's like what Quinn said about covering.
Right.
God sent two people who literally covered her, brought her into their home, took her with them when they went places to make sure where she was. And
Right.
so many times we're not being made sure of where we are.
Mhm.
You know, that's
Yeah.
and I really want to just hold you, Coco, and hold Quinn up. Truly, I just believe that God speaks through you, and I'm not trying to rain a whole holy angel thing on you, because that's not where you're two humble women who just know what God is asking you to say. You listen to what God is asking you to do, and that is what comes across. Your hearts are there for the love of all these people who are listening to you, and some who are not on this line have literally graced your nights, have been in your days, and have been in your afternoons, and because you were needed at that time. And I
Well,
hope everyone takes that away, that there are people out here, and two of those women are right here with us, that are here for you, are want to make sure that you have a voice and that you don't have to be where you are at this moment or at another moment later. You
no,
have someone to talk to.
I
That's
mean, and
right.
I appreciate you for that. I truly do. But right before we get ready to end this, I have to just take another moment of transparency, y'all. Look, I don't dot every I. I don't cross every T. Still to this day, I do choose every day to try to walk in obedience as much as I possibly can.
That's
And
right.
I
Mhm.
will do anything for anybody if it's within my limits to be able to do it. But at
Mhm.
the end of the day, what I won't do is I'm not finna play with another person's soul
That's right.
because I don't want that on my hand
Mhm.
at the end of the day because you don't understand what it feels like to know that you turn a soul away.
That's right.
Whew.
Like you don't understand what that feels like. I have been that soul turn away.
That's
And
right.
I was turned away at the wrong time.
Mhm.
You
That's right.
understand? So I'm telling you guys this so that you can know. You know what I mean? And instead of judging and talking about the individual when you don't know the
Mhm.
situation, that ain't what you're supposed to do.
That's right.
Everything concerning just not just ministry, just everything you do should be done in a moment of love.
That's right.
That's where you should come from. When you look at an individual, you shouldn't even be looking at them with your natural eye
That's
on in
right.
the first place. You should be looking at them with spiritual eyes on and open and saying, okay, what I'm dealing with is not that real person. I'm
Mhm.
dealing with the spirit residing in this
Mhm.
individual. So let me help them help
Mhm.
themselves if they don't know how. And if I can't do it, I'm going to get some people together that's going to pray over you, pray for you. And I hope that you keep praying for yourself
That's
until it
right.
breaks.
That's
That's
right.
what you do. That's what you do. You don't sit down and just I mean, the person should not be your conversation piece.
That's
If
right.
you're not praying, shut your face.
Mhm.
Like for real, for real. If you
For
can't pray
real.
for somebody, shut your whole face.
Mhm.
Because these days and times, people don't need to be judged by you. They
That's
need to
right.
be loved on, and somebody need prayer for real.
That's right.
Because you got a lot of people who are really bound up that don't know how to get out of it.
That's right.
And you don't know what's binding them.
Mhm. That's right.
So don't judge. I mean, I had a situation one time when I was really coming into the church. I didn't have church clothes like that because I told y'all I used to be in the street. I was a club hopper. That's how I dressed. When I came to church and the lady asked me to come to church, I came to church with what I had. You're supposed to be able to come as you are.
Mhm.
But I got talked about walking through the door. You know what I mean? Coming through the door. And of course, I'm not where I needed to be yet. I was trying to get there. So I turned around and cussed everybody out that said something about me. I didn't hold my mouth. I didn't waste a thought. What I said was what I meant. And at the end of the day, I looked at her and when she called me up to the front of her church, I said, "You know what? Instead of talking about me, when I came through the door, if you didn't like what I had on, you could have went and bought me something to wear."
Mhm.
And when I said that, everybody's whole facial expression changed. I said, that's funny, right? I said, look, I appreciate you inviting me to the church, but if this is how your people are, if your people are like this, are you like that too? And I turned
Mhm.
around and just looked at her. After that day, everything changed. So it's like when you sit down and you know that it's your soul that's at stake, you
Mhm.
don't play with somebody else's.
That's right.
That's what you don't do. I have been there on the other side of the totem pole, and I would never do that.
That's right.
So
Amen.
you don't judge, man. Like I said, if you can't pray for somebody, just shut your face.
That's
Don't
it.
even say nothing at all. You
That's
say,
right.
you know what? Hold on. Let me direct you to somebody I know.
Mhm.
Because I can't touch this. So just hold that thought. That's what you do. If you know that that's what it's going to cause you to do is to be judgmental, don't.
That's right. And guys, just because you left someone's church or decided to go to another church, you didn't leave God. So don't allow any leader to tell you that you left God because you're no longer sitting under them. You move as God tells you to move because, yes, you can hear from Him also.
That's it.
So please continue to serve God.
That's it.
Continue to serve God.
Every day, the word tells you to study to show yourself approved. You don't just take our word for it. You don't just take the pastor that's up behind the pulpit's word for it. Read it for yourself
Yes,
so that you know what it say. That way, nobody else can fool you.
that's right.
Because you got a lot of people who will come to you and say, "Oh, the word says such and such and such," and then when you go back and read it, they done added words and took some away.
all the time.
So I
Or
mean,
you know that old one about the one scripture, and
right,
by the time they finished the sermon, it had nothing to do with that.
right. Come
Okay.
on, y'all. So I mean, I mean, we just want you guys to be able to help yourself.
Yes,
You know what I mean? We here for whatever. We have no issues being available. But at the end of the day, God is always available.
that's right.
Always.
He ain't got no time limit.
That's right.
He ain't got no time. He don't have a 9 to 5.
That's right.
You know what I mean? He's always available. You can have need time and communication with him anytime you feel like.
That's right.
As to well, when it comes down to human beings, you got to call them when they awake
Mhm.
to have a conversation. You got to call them when they available for whatever. And it's like you're trying to crunch time with some people, and that's not how that works. But get a relationship for yourself. Get a
Amen.
relationship for yourself. And just like the doctor that was up here earlier was talking about, yes, we do have to learn how to love one another. And we have said that multiple times. Right
Mhm.
now, that's the problem. We done lost the love factor a long time ago.
So just remember in our closing, your life has destiny. Walk in your destiny. So
It
with that,
matters.
yes, it matters. With that, we're going to close out and we will see you guys on Saturday. We're having a show at 5 o'clock and we're dealing with
First lady.
first ladies and them
Gonna
not
be an
losing
interesting one.
themselves in the shadows of their husbands. So please
I'm
tune
sorry.
in.
There's a first lady out there.
Yeah, and
Y'all
I
have a
really,
great night.
and yes, and y'all, when y'all come on with
Yes.
us Saturday, y'all will understand that I really don't like to use that term because that term actually means something else. But that's what they like to
That's
call
life.
people. So yes, but I don't like using that term. And Auntie Cheryl says that we are both spoiled, but she doesn't mind.
We love you.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah,
Thanks, guys, once again for tuning in. We love you all. Tune in Saturday,
have a
five
great night.
o'clock.
Have a great
Night,
night.
Steve.